Hi and welcome back to the channel. I'm Dr. Lexi, a functional medicine expert specializing in brain health. And today I want to talk about the 6 types of brain dysfunction and their significance in brain health. It's important to understand these types to achieve the best mental clarity, combat the brain fog, and for preventing and even reversing things like cognitive decline, depression, anxiety, dementia, Alzheimer's, and more. Now, brain dysfunction is a lot more complex than we initially thought. And it turns out there's over 36 different factors that can contribute to brain dysfunction. Luckily, these 36 different factors can be grouped into 6 different categories. And these different categories of brain dysfunction can trigger symptoms such as memory lapses, concentration issues, and mood disorders. And I want to highlight the importance of recognizing and differentiating between these types for effective brain health management. Now, brain dysfunction is multifaceted by nature, and many individuals may be experiencing more than one type of brain dysfunction at the same time. This makes things even more complex and really emphasizes the need for an individualized approach. And for this reason, a one-size-fits-all strategy may not be effective for optimizing brain health. Type 1 is inflammatory dysfunction. Inflammatory dysfunction occurs when there is a chronic level of inflammation in the body that affects the brain. Chronic inflammation can lead to damage to the blood-brain barrier and can actually let the inflammation in the brain causing neuroinflammation. This is part of the reason why an anti-inflammatory lifestyle is so important for the brain. Type 2 is trophic loss. The brain relies on a lot of different nutrients and signaling molecules like hormones and growth factors. And when the brain doesn't get all of the nutrients or those signaling molecules, then things can start to go south. It's really important that we provide all of these essential components and inputs to the brain for the brain to thrive properly. Type 1.5 is glycotoxicity. Glycotoxicity simply means excess sugar or sugar toxicity. Unfortunately, the standard American diet is very glycotoxic. There's a lot of excess sugar, simple carbs like bread, crackers, chips, and more, and processed foods that quickly convert to sugar and create that sugar toxic environment. Why this is called 1.5 is because we are messing with the nutrient balance by having too much sugar, but that too much sugar also creates inflammation in the body and insulin resistance, affecting how your brain utilizes its fuel and its functioning, thus overall brain health. What you eat plays a big role in any aspect of brain dysfunction and brain health. However, it's extremely important with the glycotoxic type. Type 3 is toxic dysfunction, and this is aside from glycotoxicity. Now, our environments are more full of toxins than they ever have been, and the body has amazing detoxification mechanisms, but those can be overwhelmed, leading to toxin buildup in the brain. I have a whole separate video on tips to help minimize toxin exposure for brain protection, and I'll link that in the description below. Type 4 is vascular dysfunction, and the vasculature encompasses all of the blood vessels in your body, and their role is to deliver those nutrients we talked about to the brain. So if you have unhealthy blood vessels or your blood flow is not great, then that affects your brain function because your brain might not be able to get the oxygen and other nutrients it needs to function properly. This not only has implications for your brain, but obviously the rest of your cardiovascular system as well. And type 5, which is technically the 6th type, is trauma-induced dysfunction. This is mainly related to head injuries and can be, one big event from a motor vehicle accident or even repeated sports injuries. Now, the brain, in response to any of these things that I've talked about today, will produce amyloid plaque or amyloid beta that will then aggregate into plaques as a protective mechanism. This is a normal part of the brain protection process, and we want this to happen. However, the problem becomes when the threat never goes away and the brain just keeps producing more and more and more beta amyloid or amyloid beta or beta plaques, whatever you want to call it. And at some point it becomes more detrimental than it does protective. Now, to effectively create an optimal brain, we have to be able to identify which of these types may be an issue for you, whether it's one type or all of them. And that's why I developed the Oakley method. It's rooted in the Bredesen protocol and is a comprehensive approach to kickstarting the brain health journey. The method allows us to address the root causes of the dysfunction and restores cognitive vitality. And while this can be done without labs, sometimes labs are necessary to really pinpoint and hone in on what is an issue, especially in identifying which of the 6 types is a problem for you. Personalized testing also helps us create a personalized roadmap for addressing the dysfunction effectively. If you'd like to learn more about how the Oakley method can help you, feel free to set up a free call with me. Now, just to recap, the 6 types of brain dysfunction are inflammatory, trophic loss, glycotoxic, toxic, vascular, and trauma. And it's super important to understand these types of dysfunction for lasting cognitive well-being and emotional balance. I hope this was helpful. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. Feel free to follow me elsewhere and visit the blog. All of those links are down below. I'll see you next time.